Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Higanbana, the first night. We're going to be starting Chapter 3 tonight, and I think we're all going to have a good time. I'm genuinely curious. Is everyone going to survive this time? The first chapter had the victim and the killer both die. The second chapter, nobody died. And in the third chapter, we don't know what's going to happen. But we're going to find out. Chapter 3 is titled The Princess Lie. Let's dive in. My prediction is that these are all different stories about the school, and we're going to be learning about each of the curses. Although I was thinking we were going to have one chapter for each of the curses. Looks like the second one was about a photograph. Maybe it counts as the one for, like, the chairman or whatever. But we'll see. If this third one's another one about the 8 curses, then maybe my theory is correct, and it's going to be the 8 curses of the school for the first night. We'll see. I don't know if that one counts as the chairman. So we'll find out if the princess's lie is a third curse that's common to the school. I'm expecting them all to be curses related to the school because they kind of hinted that our Meso-san was the 8th one, and I think there's 8 chapters to this. Someone can correct me, I'm sure. So let's dive in. That was certainly a face. 2 eyes. Red irises. Possibly bloodshot. Couldn't see quite enough. Where are the Oni hunters when you need them? Hisui and Kohaku? Yeah, that would be nice. Unfortunately, no Oni hunters tonight. As I opened the door, everyone in the class turned around to look at me as usual. Good morning, everyone. And with my greeting, I was met with everyone's wide smiles. Okay. They showed feelings of affection, respect, and desire. Although I might not be aware of it, I'm enveloped with a sense of superiority from the moment I step through that classroom door every morning. Good morning, Midori. Good morning. Good morning, Princess Midori. Midori. Good morning. Stop with the princess, alright? Everyone lovingly refers to me as princess. When they call me that, it makes me feel different from the rest. And just a tad alienated. Is it the good princess or the insulting princess, you know? Are you a princess because you're such a prima donna, or are you a princess because you're actually, like, cared for that much? It's not like anyone has any ill will in warmly referring to me like that. Even though it's a bit embarrassing to admit, I'm starting to accept that nickname. This girl's name is Midori Kusunoki. Okay. And Midori is not spelled with kanji. Interesting. Her classmates have lovingly given her the pet name Princess, so she was the princess of this class. So being class president is beneath her? I see. Good morning, Princess. Saki from the seat next to me was greeting me. She might have intended to express a calm voice, but her voice seemed a bit nervous. Good morning, Saki. Saki's face suddenly brightened up when I called her name. I intended to be really casual, but my friends were being far too humble. I see you have a lovely dress this morning as well. You have some real fashion sense, Midori. Thank you. Thank you. You're too kind. I begged Mom for this. It became my favorite when she bought it for me. If you want, I'll let you have it next time. Really? I'd be happy, but I can't do that. Oh, no. I think even this dress that you complimented as lovely would be happy if I let you wear it, Saki. That's not it. It's lovely because the princess is wearing it. For someone like me to wear something like that, I can't do it. I can't. But it's a white dress with blue buttons, and like some big ass blue, like a big ass blue and white shoulder pad / collar combo. I don't know. It'd probably look okay on most people. Saki politely and nervously declines. Midori was a child from a wealthy household, so she had lots of beautiful Western-style dresses. Aye. My turn it is. Although receiving the princess's clothes and the like might have made Saki really happy, it also filled her with anxiety. Saki really couldn't take her clothes. Maybe these long sleeves are a bit too long for this season, but even in the summer I have to wear long dresses or else my skin will get sunburned real quick. With your porcelain white skin, you have to be sure to keep those sleeves in mind, Princess Midori. Oh, thank you. But Saki, your skin is also fair. No way, you're too nice, too nice. Did you do your Japanese homework? Maybe it was because Midori complimented how fair her skin was, but Saki had turned bright red. She's self-sabotaging herself not to look so fair-skinned. If I turn my skin red enough, maybe it will stay that way. And so, without any rhyme or reason, she changed topic to Japanese homework. Japanese homework? Oh no. That was due today. I was up late last night memorizing my lines. I completely forgot the homework. If you like, you can copy mine. So she's not perfect, I see. And I? It must be hard for you to memorize those stage lines. I'll let you copy it because it's the neighborly thing to do. Saki opened her own notebook and respectfully handed it over as if it were a diploma. Oh, thank you. I'm really happy we're friends, Saki. Oh no. This is all too much. Even Saki's ears turned bright red as she grinned in embarrassment. After all, no one in this class had the honor of being called Princess Midori's friend. Good morning, Midori. Fumi finally showed up just before class was about to start. And it's really hard not to put emphasis on any syllables in Midori. Or to put even emphasis. It's like I always want to put emphasis on the mi or the do. And you're just not supposed to do that. Just like Saki, Fumi was one of the Princess Midori followers. Did you see this month's chapter of Sea Cats? It was awesome, right? I felt it was a dramatic development. Sea Cats is a popular serialized manga in this class. Its rather dark themes are seen as a bit of a problem by the parents of the school. It's too edgy. However, the majority of students in the class are reading it behind closed doors. Of course, as one of those fans, Midori doesn't miss a chapter and buys one every month. Seems like there's going to be an anime starting next month, too. I'm so excited. Oh, is that true? I didn't know. What, Midori, you didn't know? Fumi shouted hysterically in astonishment and delight. Her delight was because of the new gossip she had to share with Princess Midori. Midori? Anyway, this was a service from Midori. Truthfully, she'd already read that an anime adaptation was being made, but pretending she hadn't heard about it before, she was letting Fumi feel happy. It wasn't as if she was just being doted on. By spreading a bit of goodwill to those around her, she was being modestly considerate of others. Fumi was happily giving the explanation, and explanation after explanation about the anime version they hadn't heard about. From who the main character's voice actors were, to what the studio was in charge of it, who was directing it. Fumi might have been happy, perhaps even honored to talk to Midori like that. That's neat. This is a death flag. She is so superior. Yeah, it might be a death flag. We'll see. Our cameraman raised a ton of death flags, but somehow managed to get out alive in the last chapter, so I don't know if she's actually gonna die. They did a nice job making no one die. Last chapter, so you're left going into chapter 3 not really knowing if they're gonna kill the main character or not. It's good planning. Always having someone die and never having someone die is boring, but a mix is good. Or having some survivors and some die. That's neat. But since it starts after drama club practice, watching it every week would be hard to do. Oh, that's a good thought. What time does anime normally air in Japan? I guess it airs all week. I guess it airs on a weekly schedule on any day. Right now. What time does it actually air? On television. I would have guessed later in the evening, right? Since Japanese students have to go home really late at night. And then you have to have dinner. And either you're watching anime with dinner or you're watching it after dinner, right? Because, like, there's no way you're watching it at, like, 10 a.m. when you're at school. And presumably they're marketing it towards adolescents and young adult, and, like, you know, salarymen. Imagine not watching anime during dinner. Yeah, but I'm talking about for the people there. Just record it. That's really bad for viewership numbers. Then you wouldn't know whether a show was popular or not if people were recording it. It would also mean a lot of people would miss it because that's a barrier to entry that a lot of people don't want to cross over. It has to be like an already existing popular IP that's been shuffled to a weird time slot for that to happen. Because a lot of people watch TV live, and especially in this time period, right? Because this isn't set in 2021 or whatever. Or 2023 or whatever. This, I think, is set in, like, the 90s, probably set in, like, the 80s, 90s. It doesn't seem to be set in an era with cell phones. So, it's unlikely that everyone has DVRs. No, they might. There might be a sizable portion of the population, but there's no way you get popular or worth recording if no one's seen the show. Recording anime is wrong, just download it. Well, I'll try to access it officially. I honestly wish I could just pay the studio directly for access to all their stuff, but I know where that leads. It leads to $15 subscriptions to every single studio to see their anime. That's what it leads to. We already got enough services, right? And there's already enough TV streaming services that it costs like $100+ a month to see them all. Like, as much as I'd like to just straight up pay the studio, can I just instead, like, yeah, streaming's super saturated right now? Yeah, absolutely. There are so many streaming services that are, like, super saturated. It's like, you have to pay for, like, I mean, the only one I think that is, like, kind of okay is, I think, Prime. And that's because Amazon Prime offers something other than just a streaming service. Right? Amazon Prime has Prime Video. It has instant shipping. It has Twitch Primes. All good stuff. Yeah. Other than that, like, there's like, what, 7 or 8 streaming services? We got like HBO, we got Netflix, we got Crunchyroll, we got High Dive. We have like, oh shit, I forgot a couple of the other ones. Whatever the hell, like several of the major TV networks ones are, they move them over. I'm pretty sure Bell has their own. I'm trying to remember the other popular one that's like semi-free. It's Hulu. Yeah, there's a bunch. Makes it really expensive these days to try and watch shows. It also lets you get past pesky censorship laws. Yeah, there is one upside to streaming services in that if it's not legal to stream on public television, but is otherwise free to broadcast, you can do that. You can do that. There are additional restrictions for if you're streaming something on television. You hearing crackling? I'm hearing crackling too, actually. I don't know if that's the track. I'm going to progress the story instead of sitting here for 10 minutes. So I'm pretty late at night, isn't it? Just tell me if you can't watch it, okay? I'll record it for you. Yeah, I am hearing the crackling. From the background audio, right? I'll record it for you. Thanks, Fumi. I'm really happy you're my friend. Of course. We're friends after all, right? It's still there. Fumi blushed, just like Saki. Because no other blushing girl in this class had ever received words of gratitude from Midori. Midori Kusunoki. The girl called Princess, who every girl in the class swooned over. She lived a completely satisfying school life without any insecurities. Yeah, this game has some weird audio. The dripping sound in the main menu is also super loud. Static's gone. It's definitely the soundtrack. Hey, Princess. That girl's looking over here again. Saki, who was letting me copy her paper, whispered to me. That girl? I followed Saki's uncomfortable glare toward the back of the classroom. Just as Saki had said, I noticed Nozomi Kawada was staring over this way. Seriously, I have a bad feeling about that girl. I wonder how Kawada is written. Does that end with the rice patty kanji? The one that looks like a 2x2 table? Or, you know, a box split into quarters? Just because it's so common to have that in ta or da. He's always staring at the princess. She's just jealous of Midori. In her last class, it seems she was treated like a princess. Oh, how the mighty fall. Saki and Fumi scowled and whispered. Evidently, Nozomi Kawada was also a child of a wealthy household. However, she was receiving the exact opposite treatment that Midori had. Nozomi took pride in her family's wealth and flaunted it. But Midori wasn't boastful, and she was kind to everyone. Naturally, Midori was called princess and adored by everyone. I mean, she is pretending to be modest. Or not know stuff to make other people think they're better than they actually are. She's playing dumb to make people like her more, but I guess it works. On the other hand, Nozomi is almost completely ignored by the girls in class, or rather she was being bullied. Oh boy, another person being bullied. For the last person being bullied, it really didn't end well. In last year's class, it seems she was pampered and portrayed as the pridefully rich princess. She was the complete opposite treatment this year, and the seat she once occupied as princess now belonged to Midori. Undoubtedly, she felt jealous, and being jealous was all she could do. Since that was clear to Saki and Fumi, they returned to her sharply unpleasant glare. If I thought I was called princess, I wouldn't like it if Midori was called that. Yeah, Midori's a different princess of a different caliber than her. How long does she intend to keep staring at her? I know, right? Midori's probably uncomfortable too. Perhaps I should go talk to her? With a scary look on her face, Fumi stood from her chair with a crack. As if wordlessly implying she wouldn't lose to her as Midori's loyal retainer, Saki quickly stood up as well. Stop it, both of you. Every day someone in class said terrible things about Nozomi or played terrible pranks on her. Who knows what kind of abuse she has suffered today alone. On a morning like this, Midori didn't want to see bullying start so soon. Saki and Fumi were staring at Nozomi with an explosive tension. Hey, just who do you think you're staring at anyway? You got a problem? Say it. I'm listening. If Nozomi replied back with a single word, they might use it as an excuse to end it. Since Nozomi understood that, she didn't say a single word. What lovely retainers you have, Midori. There's no sarcasm in this voice whatsoever. No, she didn't reply at all. Stop it, both of you. Midori shouted a bit when she spoke. Oh, she's putting a bit more emphasis on that. Well, I can appreciate that now. Less sarcasm. Her loyal subjects jumped with surprise at the loud voice of their beloved princess. I don't want to see any bullying this morning. Stop it. Alright? Princess. Kawada, next time you stare at her, there'll be no mercy, alright? That's right, looking at the princess's general direction. Bullied. At least for now, they've settled down. Brought the same dinner as the princess? Bullied. Got a better grade than the princess? Bullied. Better outfit than the princess? Bullied. Lovely entourage. It still doesn't change the fact that Nozomi Kawada is still hated and bullied during class, but at least for now they've settled down. After hearing Midori say she didn't want to see any bullying, her classmates didn't do any bullying for a while, at least not in front of her. Of course, that doesn't mean the bullying stopped. Midori thought it was unfortunate she couldn't save Nozomi. She also believed she should stand up for her, but in reality Nozomi Kawada was arrogant and took pride in her family's wealth. She's an asshole. She's an arrogant asshole. Hard to be friends with that. Even now, if they let her speak up, Nozomi's pride made her want to look down on Midori. Even Midori realized the irrationality of this world. No matter how friendly you are to them, there are people you can't get along with in this world. Nozomi Kawada was one of them. It's because of the bullying against her, which might have been cruel, but all she could do was see it or pretend not to see it. After all, Midori thought that if Nozomi wanted protection, she didn't want to be protected by her. Sorry. Midori apologized from her heart. But if I were to say that, it would be pitiful and yet. After all, everyone likes me, tries hard to support me, and is concerned for me. Kawada-san would be fine if only she would too, but why doesn't she? She brags about her family's wealth even though no one can sympathize. Last year's class might have spoiled her by letting her get away with that. However, it's not like anyone will praise someone for having pride in being a rich person. Especially when you're just a random... Especially when you're a trust fund baby and didn't even earn that. I think being picked on is unfortunate. But the sooner she realizes why she's being picked on, the sooner she can fix that problem herself. Aside from staring at me in class until now, this isn't really a simple matter. However, if she stopped bragging about being rich, then over time everyone's attitude towards her would change. If they slowly change their minds, she might be able to make some friends. If she did that, then someday I think she might stop being bullied. If she did that, she might even become my friend. I believe that thought reached Nozomi. Once again, I turned my gaze back to Saki's home paper and proceeded to copy her homework. Midori grimaced as she felt the sudden pain on her arm. It wasn't a pain from a bone, the throbbing of an old wound, or anything like that. It was more direct. It was as if an invisible man had struck her across the arm. Wondering what happened, I looked around the room, but all that spread out before me was the scenery of an uneventful classroom. Did we have some voodoo going on? Saki and Fumi were both having a friendly conversation. It's impossible for someone to just come by and hit me without those two noticing it. Maybe there's maybe they're like throwing rocks or something. I don't know. Before that, I was just finishing up my homework here like this. I said voodoo because, you know, it's horror and we've had a bunch of sci-fi or supernatural, I should say, elements. We haven't really had any sci-fi elements. I was just finishing my homework. Does this mean someone was able to hit my arm without them noticing? I thought something might have flown and hit me, but it didn't really feel like that. First of all, even if something did, there was nothing rolling around to indicate that. I mean, there's a lot of talking in the background. It's hard to hear something rolling on the ground like that. What's wrong? Are you alright, Midori? When they took notice of me, Fumi and Saki were looking at me with concern. Yeah, I'm fine. It's nothing. The bell sounded. Saki and Fumi started getting ready for class. And I looked at my arm again. It must have been nothing. The truth is, this isn't the first time. Lately, something like this has been happening from time to time. Suddenly, I'll feel a pain somewhere on my body. There's times when I feel that something had to have touched me, and during those times I also felt a pain that sends me cowering. And like at that point too. Oh, that's an interesting spacing on the L and the I. Anyway, and like at that point too, now I'd feel it in my arm, in my stomach, in my back. It's not a specific place. From the beginning I thought about whether it's my imagination or something, but lately I feel like these chance moments where I feel these mysterious pains are on the rise. Perhaps this could be, I don't know, some kind of really bad illness? If it's so severe, I'll be honest with my parents, and if they think I should, they'll certainly take me to get looked at in the hospital. Oh, black tea, gentlemen. Just what kind of sickness is this? What, black tea, gentlemen? Is this an expression I don't understand? Oh, black tea gentleman, just what kind of sickness is this? Is she invoking the black tea gentleman? What is he? When I muttered that in my own mind, a teacup appeared flying through the air. And then a teapot appeared floating in the air. What? What? And it poured ordinary black tea into the teacup. And then the figure of an elegant man taking a cup elegantly up to his lips slowly appeared. I call this mysterious man the black tea gentleman. Damn, I thought it was just an expression I didn't understand. There was legitimately some guy in a suit with a bunch of gaudy shit on his lapels. Or sorry, stuff on his lapels. Yeah, alright. That's the twist. I call him this because whenever he appears, he's always drinking black tea. In the middle of the classroom, filled with idle chatter, in a strangely arranged tuxedo outfit, was a strange gentleman standing and tasting his tea. Of course, I'm the only one who can see him. This Assam tea smells wonderful this morning, wouldn't you say? Oh my. Whatever is the matter? Lately I've been getting these sudden pains. Oh my. You think it's bad enough it'll interfere with your practice? Oh, it's not that bad, but it always suddenly frightens me and there's something weird about it. Well, it's nothing to be worried about. The black tea gentleman said this indifferently. Is it alright not to worry about it? Yes, anyway, now isn't really the time to be worrying about that, is it? Don't you have an extremely important role in the upcoming play? Oh, yes. I have so many lines to remember, it's quite difficult. Well, shouldn't you focus your time on that? I think worrying about other things just shows you're losing your focus, wouldn't you say? When he said that, I didn't respond. The upcoming role I want to play in the drama club is an extremely important role. This role was so important, if I were to mess it up, the entire play would be ruined. So what you're saying is she's a background tree. Maybe the kind of pressure caused me to feel some kind of imaginary pain? Perhaps I'm just feeling occasional pains in my chest from the stress? Could be. But you're right. It bothers me, but I suppose I have no choice, right? Yeah, is this Bale's dad? Maybe. Maybe it is. That's how it is, you see. Don't worry about it. He kept saying not to worry about it, and the pain in my arm was already fading away. When I agreed with him, the black tea gentleman disappeared. He's probably not human, but what is he? A monster? A yokai? There's no reason to think too much about his real identity. Yes, an Australian gentleman. Must have been quite the white-collar criminal. The black tea gentleman, a mysterious figure who revealed himself to me. Me doing an Australian accent? Oh, that's not gonna happen. And he brought me a new life. He brought me a new life from who I once was. Well, that's not too bad. When I went to the drama club room after school, things were already underway. I wonder if that's how she got her rich family? I wonder if the previous person also worked with the black tea gentleman? The previous princess, that is. Under the direction of the club president, everyone was performing stretching exercises with enthusiasm. Why would that not happen? Because I can't really do an Australian accent, as I don't have an image of one in my mind. Other than the occasional fake Australian dialogue. I don't listen to too much Australian stuff. I'm sorry. I'm late. As I enter the room, everyone stops what they're doing and looks at me. Flip the screen upside down to do an Australian accent, of course. Of course. But why wouldn't I just rotate my head 180 degrees? Way easier. Everyone stops what they're doing and looks at me. Adoration? Admiration? They were improper glances to give to someone who is late. Hey, keep stretching. The club president clapped his hands. Even he had been enchanted by Midori for an instant. Kusunoki, you've been late a lot lately. Sorry, I had some trouble getting changed. I'll be more careful in the future. I said with a smile as the club president realized what that meant, and he turned red and looked away in embarrassment. Well, I'm sure you'll be fine as long as you're more careful. Our upperclassman club president got along well with the teachers and was very popular among the girls at school, but even someone like him would show Midori a smile like that. The princess of the classroom was even a princess in the drama club. Or perhaps it makes sense the other way around? Because she's the princess in the drama club, she was a princess in the classroom. And she's called princess because she shines beautifully on stage. And she's loved by students from other classes, and even different grades. As Midori went looking for a place to stretch, the other club members made way in response as if she were passing through the audience to the stage. This person is unnaturally popular. Is the gentleman giving her this popularity? That's what I was thinking. But it's hard to tell, because sometimes this is like the anime trope of the super popular princess character. Like, we actually have that, although they do make fun of it in, like, I think Psyche K has that, right? They make fun of that in Psyche K. So there's like a couple of times where they make fun of people basically worshipping the classroom princess. We'll see if that's the case here too. But it might also be like a curse / buff from the supernatural elements of this arc. Yeah, exactly like Terahashi. Terahashi is the princess character from Psyche K, right? Who's also kind of an awful person on the inside. She's like the class princess, everyone loves her, and then you hear her internal dialogue and you realize she's an awful person who thinks everyone's trash. And like hates interacting with all these useless, scummy people except for the protagonist, who is a telepath, so he knows she's terrible but is also hiding his powers. So he just avoids her like the plague. Yeah, it's a great anime. And manga, I believe? I think it's a manga first. The static kicked in again. Interesting. Thank you. As she smiled and thanked them, everyone shyly looked away. It was exactly as if even flowers would blush with just a smile from Princess Midori. Our school drama club had a lot of club members, and although it was a cultural club, it was completely sport-oriented. Everyone changes into gym clothes during club hours to improve our endurance. We run around the school or head down to the riverbed and practice shouting to exercise our vocal cords. This is a drama club, right? What? It's almost like the world in glass mask. Don't know what that is. And now it's become a tradition to have a performance at the end of every semester where we act in front of all the students in school on stage. Today is that very important day where the roles of the performance will be decided. It was as if all the club members were overflowing with excitement. Please, audio track change. It seems like every time I delay anything, like I take a sharp break, it's causing the audio to bug out and to be filled with static. So I guess that's the easy hint to know if there was a break. If you're watching the VOD, you're just gonna be like, huh, interesting. You must have split the VOD here because the audio is staticky. Basically, when it came to casting the play, members would start calling out the part they wanted to play, and if the advising teacher and club president saw no problems, it was decided on the spot. When 2 or more people wanted the same role, they would audition in front of everyone. This time, the play we're performing will be the classic Rockin' Jima. It's a mysterious play that's like a fantasy, but also like a mystery. Rockin' Jima, that's a reference to something. Bit of a callback. Since there's some very difficult content to work with, if the actors don't understand the emotions they have to portray, then they can't transmit the message of the story. It's a really difficult play, but our advising teacher chose this as a challenge for us. The leading role, the witch, is no ordinary role and it requires real acting ability. Even better if you're continuously acting like a princess. You want to be the evil murderous witch who's sassy as fuck? Do the leading male role? Good luck. But I want to make that role mine. This play and this role. If I can do it, I want to realize the expectations of the teacher who believed in me. The leading actress has to be Midori-san. Obviously. How do you know it's not going to be Shannon? How do you know she's not going to be Shannon, who may or may not be given a different voice actor? I assume Shannon has a different voice actor, obviously. She's the only one who can play the role of the witch. That witch is also the protagonist of this play. There are other characters that are introduced, but it quickly turns into a one-woman show, and the perfection of the play hinges upon the acting ability of the one playing the witch. The club members whispered amongst themselves that no one else except Midori could fit the role, and it was most likely that no one else would announce their candidacy for the role of the witch. To suggest someone would compete with her on acting ability was beyond absurd. Midori Kusunoki was more than a princess in the drama club, she resembled a queen. Of course, she wasn't so naive as to think she would automatically be given the part of the witch. She also knew her teacher had chosen this play specifically to test her acting abilities. Okay, I'm just gonna kill the audio because that's super annoying. After all, he had been giving her lessons on the role of the witch for ages now in preparation for today. The teacher was staring intensely at Midori. It was a look as if to say, magnificent. Now make the role of the witch your own. If for some reason Midori didn't prove to be a very good witch, he might have even intended on canceling the play altogether. In other words, the play Rakanjima might as well have been chosen just for Midori's sake. Wow, that's hella self-centered. Yeah, the play is entirely built and designed for her, and if she isn't an expert at the role, they'll change their play. That's an assumption. Holy shit. Watch me, sensei. No matter what, I'll show you a fitting performance for the role of the witch. And then Midori's eyes filled with determination in response to her teacher. Unlike Midori, who was almost guaranteed to get the role, the other club members were still worried whether or not they'd get their own parts so easily. What do I do if I don't get any of the parts? I would hate getting stuck doing the odd jobs. This play seems to have a lot of props and whatnot too. She knows the witch dies multiple times. Who knows how many chapters they're doing? Don't worry about that. I mean, look, there's a kid who'll do it all for us. Their eyes shifted to the corner of the club room. There was a single girl isolated from everyone doing her stretches. Nozomi Kawada. Incidentally, she was also a member of the drama club. She was stretching out with her head down while everyone avoided making eye contact with her. Looking at her like that all at once, the other club members started whispering, "Ugly, disgusting." Their voices extended out to Nozomi, and there was no doubt that she heard what they were saying. And yet she silently continued to stretch as if it didn't bother her at all. She was silencing her thoughts and pretending not to hear. She wasn't just bullied in the classroom, but here as well, and Midori felt sorry for her. It wasn't as if Nozomi was as ugly as everyone was slandering her out to be. On the contrary, her face made her seem beautiful, and rather than a smile, prideful of her wealth, it was as if she could smile from the bottom of her heart. Then her face would surely shine even brighter. I, too, was once ignorantly prideful of my family's wealth. Thankfully, I realized my arrogance and changed my ways. If I hadn't done that, I would be Nozomi Kawada. Just as sometimes she's staring at me, sometimes I'm also staring at her. Oh, what are you daydreaming about? It's your turn. Oh, thank you. The black-tea gentleman appears and tells Midori her time has come. Walking toward the teacher, I'd announce what role I want to play, and I'd demonstrate that performance. As silence fell over the other club members sitting on the floor, I stood up alone and stepped forward. Kusunoki-san, what part do you want? The teacher asked. Without losing that self-confidence, with a strong nod, I replied, Midori Kusunoki, I want the role of the witch. Even though that was what everyone expected, they all let out low gasps. Splendid. Oh my goodness, the mega popular person at the drama club gets the big role. No way. Sorry, not even got, applied for the role. No way. Yeah, alright. How about you show us a performance? Complicated lines, complicated delivery, and a tender expression. He was asking to see the fruits of all my labors from so long ago up to this day. After being urged to perform by my teacher, I quietly began to focus. At that moment, that pain ran through me once again. Even now, at a time like this, again. This time it was my shoulder. Of course, it wasn't like anyone hit my shoulder or like anything flew and hit it, but it was pain as if I'd suddenly been hit by something. Kusunoki, what's wrong? The club president called out. Oh, it's nothing. Hoping it would ease my mind, I circled my arm around once. There wasn't any pain anymore. What's the matter? It's finally time to show them what you've been working for until today, you know. Even the black tea gentleman was cheering me on. Perhaps I am just nervous. Or perhaps it's because I was too worried about Nozomi Kawada. She stirs my memory. When I look at her, it's as if I'm looking at myself before I was born again. As Midori, I was trying to perform the role of the witch. She remembered herself as she was during one semester. Let's see, the audio is restarted. Let's see if the crackle is gone. Yeah, crackle's gone now. It was before I was born again. For me, that time was as far away as a past life. But in terms of time, it was a reminder of the semester from a mere 2 months ago. Even trying to remember is hazy, and the memory seems distant now. That Midori-chan, she's always so haughty. It's like she's showing off how rich she is way too much. One of the female classmates suddenly pointed at Midori as she said that. The girl had good looks, excellent grades, and even popularity amongst her classmates. At the time, she stood far above me in terms of class hierarchy. That's right. It wasn't far in the distant past when I started being pampered with the name Princess. It started this semester. For me, it seems far and away as a past life, but in reality, it only happened last semester. What? As that girl began to point, in a flash, my other classmates joined in. Midori Kusunoki is an arrogant, rich snob. When that label stuck, for 3 days straight, the entire class began to bully Midori. Those were painful days to remember. Her heart was crushed, and it didn't just cross her mind once or twice that she wanted to up and die. And that bullying didn't just stay in the class, it spread to the drama club. It even went so far as to affect her role in the performance at the time. She was made to perform only the unwanted work. Even her fellow club members that she got along with began to spread rumors about Midori. She was isolated both in the classroom and the club room. I was exactly like Nozomi Kawada is now. Oh, I get it. Because when I'm looking at her, it hurts. Scars on my heart. From my past life. Then one day, I met him. The otherworldly man, the one known as the Black Tea Gentleman. That day, Midori was forced to do all the odd jobs for the drama club. She was left in the club room after the sun went down, and she was making props for the play. As she was pasting silver paper on a cardboard sword, she thought, if only this was real. The girl who was ringleader of Midori's bullying was the leading actress in the upcoming play. In the last scene, she would commit suicide by piercing her heart with this sword. In her dark imagination, she thought of seeing their gymnasium stage stained with her dark red blood. But that kind of thinking was beneath her, so she quickly corrected herself. When I joined the drama club, I wanted a moment in the spotlight on the stage. Yet without a role to play, I couldn't even go up on stage. The only thing I'd been allowed to do until then was making props, all by myself. I was sad, frustrated, but as I tried to remember, I felt I was paying for my mistakes. As I tried to remember back before I was labeled a rich, arrogant snob, I daydreamed sadly, alone. Even though I shed tears, the work didn't end. Midori took a deep breath. The smell of mold and paint in that gloomy club room passed through her nose. And yet, when she took another deep breath, Midori suddenly caught the wonderful smell of a sweet fragrance. It was something totally unfitting for a place like this. The smell of tea. The smell of a tumor. Affecting your visual cortex. And, whatever the part of your brain that processes smells is. Probably nearby the eye stuff, too. Without realizing it, suddenly Midori's eyes focused on a fixed location within the club room, and in front of a closed window, a steaming teacup was floating. Yes, floating. Dangling in the middle of the air. It might have been because she was exhausted for making all the props. Midori just stared blankly at that strange sight. She had to be seeing things. Being bullied every day into making props and exhausted both physically and mentally, Midori thought as much. Because she wasn't even that shocked when the very teacup suddenly spoke. Talking teacup, okay. Continuing club activities at a time like this? You must be quite a dedicated young lady. It was the voice of a grown man. I couldn't tell if he was young or old, but it was a mysterious voice that seemed to resonate like an echo. I'm sorry. Did I scare you? No. Well, somehow it seems the channel to your mind has coincidentally met with my own wavelength. Teacup said as it moved about. Gradually, I began to tell that it was as if an invisible man was holding the teacup in his hand. Makes sense. Then, as if coming into focus, the man who held the teacup began to appear. He was a man wearing a strange outfit arranged with a tuxedo? He didn't look like a teacher. Of course, he didn't look like a student either. But that eccentric attire seemed perfectly suited for the drama club. Oh my, oh my. Seems you can see all of me now. With a smile on his face, the mysterious man took another slurp of his tea. Good evening, young lady. Being dedicated to your club activities is good, but isn't it a bit too late for a girl like yourself to be out? It was the first time Midori met the black tea gentleman. He didn't offer to help her put together the props or anything like that. However, he did quietly listen to Midori tell her story while inclining his teacup by the window. You poor thing. Being an outsider in your own classroom and even the clubs is truly regrettable. Does he just help the rich kids? That's right. He's the spirit guide for rich kids. Oh, class, that's fine. I didn't really like school since the very beginning. What's troubling you must be the drama club then. I really love drama. On the stage, I can become whatever I want. I can experience different worlds, different lives. Because I love that, I entered into the drama club. And yet you're treated unreasonably even now, being forced into making props. How regrettable. Midori stopped working and she began to sob. She hadn't joined the drama club because she wanted to make props. She wanted to shine. She wanted to be showered with applause. Even if she were bullied in class, she could endure as long as she could at least shine upon stage. Oh, you poor thing. But this is also some kind of fate. There are hardly any humans that exist who can see us unless we wish it to be so. In other words, our meeting here is quite miraculous indeed. It certainly is a miracle. Meeting the ghostly teapot man. Ghostly tea man. You can tell he's British by how much tea he likes to drink. Meeting an otherworldly creature in one's life is by no means ordinary. Now is your long-awaited chance. With my power, allow me to make your dream come true. Oh, she's popular via magic. Interesting. So we did kind of guess it was the gentleman's power. And it seems to be the case. My dream? No matter how much you might be bullied in class, as long as you can shine on the stage, you said you'd be happy. As a drama club member, that's truly an admirable spirit. As a token of my respect, allow me to grant your one dream, your one wish. And when he said that, the man quickly raised his left hand. And from the corners of the room, countless packed cardboard boxes filled with scripts began to float. From those boxes leapt numerous scripts, and they floated and began to twirl around me. Pick the role you desire. I'll give you that role. Really? Any role? Any role. A hero who topples evil. A heroine who receives whispers of love. If you wish it, I'll give you the role of a dog, a cat, or even a tree in the background. Countless wondrous scripts passed in front of Midori. Any script, any role, she couldn't contain her excitement. Please choose only one. With that, we'll make our contract. A contract? It may have already come to your attention, but I'm not human. Rather, I take a little off the top of fragments of souls of all you humans. I'm a creature that ekes out a living on what is given to me. Midori quickly realized it. No matter what role, in exchange for granting a single wish, he was saying it was a contract in exchange for her soul. Oh, it seems you've misunderstood me. I am most certainly not a god of death. A contract with me does not mean you'd be giving me your life in exchange. Just a tiny sliver of your soul. I'll take just enough to nibble on. Since it'd be so little, you wouldn't even be able to notice, so please don't worry. The man said with a smile. From a smile like that, she couldn't sense any danger of giving her life away. Midori made her decision without hesitation. Repeating her days like this, she was slowly being killed with the passing of each day, so she'd make the contract with him. Better read the fine print. Cutting off something, offering a piece of her soul, seemed a much better option than slowly dying. Wonderful. I respect the strength of your spirit. Of course you'll take the contract. Take this precious opportunity, take advantage of it, start a whole new life. You'll make the best of tonight's miracle, and you'll be born again. Occasionally I've had the mystical experience of being on stage affect my real life. That's right. For me, this isn't a miracle, it's just for a role in the play. This is a chance to change myself, change my life, change my fate. He gave me that chance, but I'm the one taking it. I will take it and change. So I choose my role. What should I call it? Oh, that's right. Well, since I do love tea, you may refer to me as the Black Tea Gentleman. He named himself. Curious. Though the Black Tea Gentleman kept his promise, for the next play I was chosen for the lead role. The girl who was playing the part had a big fight with the club president and ran out of the club. Since I could take up her role in the performance by chance, I carefully read her script. So until a real substitute was found, although it was temporary, I hadn't been selected for any major roles before. I never stopped wanting it, the sweet, sweet role of the princess. That someone like me was chosen to fill a sudden opening in a last-minute emergency. My teacher, even the club president, no one expected it. But I thrust all of my soul into that role. Into that once-in-a-lifetime chance the Black Tea Gentleman gave to me. Or rather, it was because I knew it was my only chance that I gave it everything I had. In practice and on stage, my mind was empty. I don't mean empty as if my mind was blank from nervousness. I mean, it was as if everything about me, everything inside of me had been hollowed out and everything had been used up. Everything was a dream, and I have no memory of what happened until the curtain dropped. When everything was over, I returned to my senses. I was surrounded by cheers and roaring applause. I don't know what happened. I was caught wide-eyed and confused in the dazzling spotlight. I have no idea what happened. The club president who was playing the lead took my hand and asked for an encore. At that moment, I finally realized and experienced it. On that stage, my part as the princess was a massive success. Black Tea Gentleman. You did wonderful. I've been watching from here for some time. In the shadows behind the curtain, the Black Tea Gentleman had been applauding for a while as well. I have the best role. It's all thanks to you. Yeah. I gave you the best role you wanted. However, the role was played through your strength. Receiving roaring cheers was most befitting your wondrous talents. I'm happy. Happy. Are you gonna ask for another leading role? It was so bright I couldn't see anything. You've already been reborn. You got your chance, you took it. You mustn't forget that strength, and since you've cleared your past life, you'll be better for it, won't you say? I won't forget. I'll never forget this feeling. And don't forget our contract either. The Black Tea Gentleman said with a smile, and with those words, he disappeared. Even if she were to be killed by having her soul torn out from her right there, it no longer mattered because she was on top of the world. The miraculous choice. I mean, the bargain seems too good to be true. The miraculous princess. From that day forward, she was called Princess Midori. She was admired by the girls at school and became well respected. Summer vacation ended and a new semester began. As if that semester never happened, the bullying of Midori stopped entirely. Those that had once bullied her, everyone acted as if it never happened. They fussed over Midori, called her princess, gave her praise. At first she thought everyone was a little inconsistent, and yet on the other hand it didn't seem so bad to be loved and respected. It was then a feeling of delight began to take hold of her, and she decided she wouldn't flaunt her wealth anymore. Just like the princess, she would become sweet, kind, a beautiful princess with a heart loved by all. In that chance on stage, I was reborn. Even now, no one remembers what happened that semester anymore. As for the boys, their faces turned bright red just from seeing me walk past them. The girls adore me and want to call me their friend. Based on how I act, everyone is moved to joy or sorrow. It's as if my casual actions are treated like those of a celebrity, and I've started to become a legend at the school. That must be the spiciest portrayal of a princess ever. Damn, alright. I wonder if you can give the gentleman thing to someone else. Midori chants, awesome, she's so cute. I want to be just like her. Princess Midori is so sweet. It would be nice if she could call my name just once and smile. I wonder if Princess Midori is going to be doing another performance. Better keep an eye on the drama club. Alright, lesson time. Don't get excited. And don't forget what you've learned. I really misjudged Kusanoki's true potential. I have no excuse for how I acted lately. That's fine, club president. I'm also going to do my best to practice, and I'm going to work hard to become an even better actor. Oh, that's our Princess Midori. How come we never noticed there was such a wonderful girl like her in our class before? In the classroom and in the club room, voices of praise washed over Midori. These voices gave Midori self-confidence and courage. And so, without being conceited, Midori strived at practice. Most of all, she changed her heart so she could become someone loved by all. If one's heart changes, that changes the body as well. Okay. Things seem to be going very well for Midori. Is there going to be a downside to this curse? Is the pain a result of the contract? Her slumped shoulders that had always hung her head in shame suddenly lifted and straightened. Her posture became exquisite. Even her voice held a dignified tone, and those that heard her voice couldn't help but turn their heads to listen. Her face also changed beautifully, making onlookers want to sigh. She was already a different person from the first semester. She had truly been reborn. Even today, Midori is working hard in the club activities. She's running around the courtyard, building her endurance. Each time the other club members see Midori, they throw out their hands and cheer. I'm truly happy. Like so, Midori became the princess loved by all. It seems humans can change from just this one little chance. Under cover of the school building, nobody could see a teacup tip back. Oh, Midori-san. Remember, this is a give and take. Please don't forget that. Once again, he took a sip from the teacup. But that'll be all. The teacher clapped his hands together, and I ceased my performance as the witch. In the brief silence, the teacher and the club leader nodded wordlessly. Congratulations. Kusanoki-san, we have decided you will play the leading part in Rockinjima. Thank you. So my question is the contract over, or is she repeatedly spamming the contract, selling fragments of her soul until she dies for fame? The man in black is implying that she's still using his powers and that she owes him. But she doesn't seem to have noticed. So I'm not sure what or think that she owes him anything right now. I'm not sure what the stakes are. I'm just kind of sitting here like, is she just all of a sudden going to be like, oops, that's all your soul, you're dead now? Or is she just working on her own power? Why is the man in black still here? Everyone take a good look at Kusanoki's performance and strive to improve yourselves as well. Yeah. Midori, congratulations on getting the witch's role. A warm applause began to spread, and if one clapped with all their might, wouldn't their hands hurt? This applause was so big it might cause one to worry thus. I think the lovely Princess Midori will take on the role of a mysterious witch this time. It sounds like it'll get an incredible reaction. Of course, with Princess Midori at the lead, it'll be huge. Be the talk of the town. The performance sounds so incredibly exciting. I'm already getting nervous. We should make sure we don't hold her back. In the applause, with a feeling like being on a runaway train, I returned to my seat. Last time I was chosen due to a sudden resignation. This time it's different. I got the role with my own power. It may be just one step, but it's one I've definitely overcome. It was that feeling of accomplishment. At the moment I sat down, enveloped by everyone's applause, once again I met Nozomi Kawada's gaze. Even though everyone was blessing me with their full smiles, she was the only exception. She just stared at me. I couldn't read what kind of emotions those eyes had. I only knew it wasn't a feeling of celebration. It was as if I was gazing upon myself for my first semester. It forced me to remember the anxiety and uneasiness. Why is she always watching me with such disgust in her eyes? Oh, I know. She's jealous of me, isn't she? You literally contracted a demon for supernatural powers to get your role. I'd be jealous of you too. Even though she was once pampered as a princess, now she's hated and bullied for being proud, rich, and haughty. I understood her pain so well it hurt because that was who I used to be. But you know, Kawada-san, she should have contracted Ronove instead. Humans can change. Yeah. You're my former self, Kawada-san. Even I, with just one chance, was able to transform so much. It was as though I was reborn. And I'm sure you can too. Why don't you ask the man in black to go talk to her? Your chance will come someday. Suddenly, without warning, I was struck with pain again. A severe pain in my foot, one that caused me to unconsciously contort my body. Midori? Are you okay? You don't look so good. I'm fine. You should go see the nurse. I'll escort you there. Everyone was concerned about Midori's health. This mysterious sudden pain that keeps happening to me, it might be a good opportunity. I'll try getting it looked at in the infirmary. It has to be because I'm so nervous. Most people would get a stomach ache. I must be the type that gets pain all over. If I relax, I should be okay. Then I'll get the nurse's seal of approval. I'll be able to do my best again. While leaning on a club member's shoulder, she headed toward the infirmary. It doesn't look like there's anything particularly wrong. The school nurse put it bluntly. The pain in her foot had completely disappeared when she'd come to the infirmary. Seems to be nothing wrong, so that you shouldn't have sudden pains like that. If it keeps happening all the time, you should get checked out in a real hospital. No, I'm fine. I think I'm just the type who feels pain when I get nervous or wear myself out. Her friends made a big deal about it. Midori apologized, saying she was sorry for causing the commotion. She didn't want to go to the hospital. If she really did have a terrible illness, she might not be able to go to the performance. She'd just been chosen as the lead role. That was something she absolutely couldn't accept. That's right. I'd rather die than not get the lead role in this play. Once she said she was fine, the nurse couldn't do anything else for her. Strange things happen sometimes, and with that she held her pencil between her nose and upper lip and tilted her head. Nothing particularly wrong. Those words relieved Midori, but wondering what the true reason was for the pain caused her mind to wander. Before, the pain would come once every 10 days. However, little by little she got the feeling they'd become more frequent. Even though the pain used to hurt only when it was touched or would just be a dull pain, lately the pain became more frequent and intense enough her face would show it. From here on, in preparation for the performance, she must focus on practicing more and more. I don't know why the demon guide's still around. You should ask him, he seems so sus. Just ask him if you've paid already. Or if he's still taking more. Because he's hanging around a lot, and it's sus. Still, if the strange pain gets worse, it's definitely going to interfere. Something you don't need to worry about. You don't have the time to become so preoccupied with pain. Black tea, gentlemen. Have you forgotten the concentration you'll need on stage? Focus on your performance. Perfect your character. It's foolish to pay attention to such pain, is it not? Don't worry about the pain. It's not answering your question. The black tea gentleman is always saying that. Certainly, even if I worry about it, it's still as he says. In the end, my ability to concentrate isn't enough. Think only of the stage, and if I give my undivided attention to practice, I shouldn't pay any mind. After Midori gave her consent, she bowed her head to the nurse and left the infirmary. While the black tea gentleman watched her go, he sipped his black tea. Is that so? You're feeling these pains more often? That's a dilemma, isn't it? Leaving only a laugh no human could hear, the black tea gentleman disappeared. It was something no human could hear, so someone who wasn't human heard it. Eh? Oh. From the corner of a medicine shelf, Marie's face timidly peeked out, and in her hand she gripped chestnut steamed buns that might have been taken from the staff room or elsewhere. After finding these delicious buns, she brought them over to the infirmary to share with Higanbana over tea. How did Marie find them, you ask? Well, after she died, Marie discovered she had the miraculous power to home in on buns. Truly the ultimate superpower. Higanbana was gone, and in her place she saw the figure of a man she's not familiar with. I wonder, that person just now was... Her otherworldly senses told her that the black tea gentleman was the same as her. A youkai? It looked to her like he was haunting the girl who had just left. Practice began on Rockinjima the following week, which was even more difficult than imagined. First, above all else, there were a lot of lines. The leading part's lines were of an incredible volume, so to call it a one-man show wouldn't have been an exaggeration. Could have been worse, she could have been playing Battler. Memorizing them was hard enough. Then she had to understand the meaning of each and every word and place an emotion on it. Just one scene alone needed a considerable amount of concentration. If she were to be out of sync with her partner even once, one line may be left out, or a prop used the wrong way. Oh, come on, Kusunoki-san. You can't just give a performance with your body. You have to give it from the heart. Come on, do it over again. Midori is so amazing. She remembers all those good lines so well. What a tough role. If anyone but Princess Midori did it, it would be impossible. Though the club members all praised Midori's performance as brilliant, the teacher was relentless. And of course, in order to live up to those expectations, Midori practiced with everything she had. So what happened to the previous person? Is this like a drama room curse? Or a drama room spirit that just fucks with whoever's in the lead by, like, replacing them with someone else he makes a deal with? I'm curious what the man who drinks tea is doing. It's like, what happened to the previous person who led a starring role? They haven't even mentioned her, other than to say she got sick last semester. Before, she was not good at training or flexibility, even if she said it was for her favorite play. But now, she isn't bothered by it at all. The deep emotion of that day on the stage was vividly burned into her memory. And in order to obtain that excitement once more, she was able to withstand any excruciating exercise. The sweat that flowed from Midori was transparent and glistening. She took a breath and wiped away the sweat. In the corner of the club room, she caught sight of Nozomi Kawada fixing a tear in a costume. She wasn't able to get a role this time either. As everyone expected, she was forced into being in charge of all the odd jobs. Vocal warm-ups and stretching, she wasn't good at anything. As always, she was darkly isolated, and sometimes she'd glare at me with envy. Was she the previous lead actor? That everyone just forgot was the lead actor in the plays? I can see why she glares at you with envy if that's the case. Wada-san. Being jealous won't change anything, you know. If you do that and reluctantly do the work pushed on you, nothing will change. Because even I was once in charge of miscellaneous jobs. I was made to work until late at night making small props. Sorry, didn't she say this was literally a 3-day period in her life? Like she said, for 3 days I was bullied relentlessly until I changed my ways. I don't know how long the semester's been going on, but I feel like your quote-unquote suffering doesn't really compare Like, ah yeah, someone called me rich and entitled, and they were mean to me for 3 days until a supernatural spirit came in. And I traded a part of my soul to make myself popular. Like, wow, that's real rough, lady. And this has supposedly been like all semesters. I feel like the other person has it way worse. Like that's what I'm seeing here, but maybe she's reflecting like a longer period of time. And just saying, you know, I changed after that 3 days, but I was kind of an asshole before then. I would secretly read the script and drove all the princess's lines into my mind. In the gloomy club room with no one around, I faced the mirror and practiced for hours and hours alone. Because of that, I was able to live up to my chance selection for the role. I was envious of everyone, but I worked hard and gave it my all. You have to give it your all or you can't seize your chance. I grasped mine. That's why I won't let go. With all my strength, I'll carry out my role. Nozomi lifted her face. Our eyes met. Those eyes were empty, and like always, I couldn't tell what she was thinking. But today was different. I felt something that made me shiver just a little. She was calling to me. Her eyes seemed to say, "Me? Oh, it's not like I'm just jealous." Next to Nozomi, the script of Rockin' Jim was lying upside down. I didn't think the script was needed to repair tears in costumes. She was not only just jealous, she was watching me. She was lying in wait. Her eyes seemed to say there were none more suitable but her, and that I should abandon the role of the witch. If, just before the play, perhaps I were to fall ill and suddenly drop out, there wouldn't be anyone else to stand in for the part. She's anticipating my downfall, lying in wait, reading the script until I'm out of her way. I see, so that's what it is. Without anything to base it on, Midori understood. The mysterious pain increasing daily. Surely this is something like Nozomi's Kawada's curse. If I suddenly drop the role of the princess, she could get the main role. So she's hoping I'll suddenly drop out. Perhaps her eyes were trying to say, if Midori Kusunoki did it, there shouldn't be any reason I can't do it too. The blank expression, her gaze, it made me uncomfortable just by looking toward her. Without a doubt, she's got to be the one sending me these strange pains. But at least she didn't take until an admission to accuse her of being the thing. Even if she hasn't acted, she kind of has her suspicions. Better than just being like, oh no, who's doing this to me? Suddenly, reveal it's the person who hates you. Are you okay, Midori? My friend called. I returned to myself. To think Kawada-san is sending me a curse and causing me pains. Now I'm starting to imagine strange things. I wonder if I'm just tired. Although, I was given this power by the mysterious black-tea gentleman who revealed himself to me. It may not be that strange if she's something mysterious too. Yes. It's just as the black-tea gentleman said, if I worry about it, it's over. It doesn't matter if she's after my role. I'm the perfect person for the role of the witch, so I'm the one dealing with the performance. Everything is my own personal problem. And if I worry, well, I'll mess up. And with that, the time to be afraid of Nozomi Kawada's ominous gaze was over. Just ignore it, they can't be relevant. While she worked towards the performance, her days of energetic practice continued. She deemed no exercise unworthy of her time, and that time passed in the blink of an eye. It would always be night by the time the club ended and she went home. She'd finish her dinner in a hurry, splatter onto bed like mud, and sleep. That was how her daily cycle went. It was difficult on the body. Every day was satisfying and productive. That pain. If it weren't for that pain, the time between days that she would experience the mysterious pain became shorter. Midori? What's the matter? It's nothing. Sorry. On the contrary, she felt suspicious that the frequency had become excessive. She'd already been to the infirmary about the matter once. If she were to panic, she might have to drop her role. By pretending she had to go to the bathroom, she was alone again. And the intense pain was the same as always. And just as always, though, it seemed like there'd be a visible cause, but there wasn't a scratch on her. I've had enough. I shook off the thought once, but just as I thought, maybe this is Nozomi Kawada's curse. Because the pain's always restricted to when I'm at school. Furthermore, I also consider the times I've felt it are while I'm near Nozomi Kawada, they've increased. Also, when I have this pain, if I turn around, her gaze will be on me. And like I thought, you think I'll give up and lose? Like I'll let that happen? I'll definitely be in the play. There's no way I'll step down. I'll never let go of my once-in-a-lifetime chance. Sorry, but there's no way I'll ever hand this over to you, Kawada-san. There's not many days until the performance. It's not something to worry about. You really don't have the time to let it tear you apart, do you? The black tea gentleman kept repeating that. It's not something to be worried about. Oh, don't worry, don't worry. There's no way I'll give up over this bizarre pain. But he didn't say it wasn't his fault. The riddle of my curse that's eating away at me is not just limited to pain. It was one day during lunchtime. Once I'd received my curry from the lunch lady and returned to my seat, Saki, Fumi, and the other people I surrounded myself with simultaneously gathered. An enjoyable lunch surrounded by friends. A familiar scene. Princess, are you okay lately? You've been looking pretty pale lately. But really? It's just your imagination. Don't worry about it. You've been practicing almost every day, haven't you? Try not to push yourself, alright? I just can't wait to see Midori on the stage as the head. It's the weekend, right? It's this weekend. Good luck, Midori. It seemed the curse of my pain was wearing me out. I hadn't intended to show it through my mannerisms, but it seemed Saki and the others who were always around me could tell. If their princess fell ill, everyone would cause an uproar. If that happened, word would reach the drama club, and the teacher and club leader would hear about it. It's no laughing matter. I won't ever step down. I'm the one who will stand in the middle of the stage, bathing in the spotlight during this play. I will never lose to a curse or to Nozomi Kawada. Did you watch yesterday's Sea Cats anime? I did. I didn't miss a thing. The voices were so good, weren't they? Ono-san is just the best. Speaking of which, all the voice actors were incredible. Midori, who do you like? Huh? Oh, yeah, I don't get home until I didn't get to see most of it. Because I practice so late every day, by the time I go over, the broadcast is long over. I like the show, but I'm not interested in it at all right now. I know, Umineko is the name of the show, Sea Cats. I have to concentrate on the performance. Showing that they understood my exhaustion from my daily practice, Saki and the rest left me alone and kept their excitement among themselves. As I absent-mindedly listened, I mechanically transported some school lunch to my lips. The taste of cheap curry filled the inside of my mouth. I had no appetite for food, and even eating a mouthful took a long time. But I had to eat, even if it was against my own free will. Starting this week, we would wear the clothes for our parts every day while practicing. If I don't eat, my body won't be able to handle it. At that moment, it was the pain again. This time it was the back of her head. It hurt like someone struck her violently. Even if she turned around, no one would be there, so she didn't even turn around to check. Rather, she glared at Kawada and Nozomi's back. How frustrating. I have no evidence, but it has to be Kawada-san's fault, I know it. But if I let it get to me, I'll lose it. For her, using this kind of curse to disturb me is the best she can do. I won't give my role up to someone like you. I'll never give up, never. As she was biting her lower lip, she turned her gaze back to her lunch. When she did, the curry lunch began to sway and blur. It didn't seem to be steam or anything like that. Tired eyes, perhaps? It felt like that. I rubbed my hazy eyes and stared at something that made me feel uncomfortable. Just now, I was eating the school's curry lunch. But now, swirling, it had these black things mixed in. Did it float from the bottom? There's no way. But in that curry, there were countless dead insects. The sudden shock nearly made her choke. On top of the curry, without a doubt, those things were scattered about. It was impossible for someone to pull a prank while I was staring at Kawada-san. There was no way those things just floated up from the bottom of my curry. There's just no way. Before my very eyes, they warped into my existence. The glistening backs, their lustrous black husks, knotted legs, hair-like feelers. Listen, bugs don't just teleport into your food. The best thing to do is to ask your friends if they see anything weird about the curry. And if they're like, what's wrong? You like point at one of the things, and if they're just like, ah, there's nothing there, you're like, ah, okay, never mind. Maybe, just, you know, just say something like oh yeah, maybe I'm just not feeling well. It seemed like that was a bit strange. They were mixed with the brown curry sauce and the white rice in a gruesome display. Gripping my spoon, I'd been drawing from the bowl for some time. Just moments ago, I'd been driving my utensils into the curry, but now there wasn't just curry on them. My fork and spoon were thickly encrusted and stuck with black bugs. There were a variety of indescribable colors composing the bodily fluids and guts that flowed out of them. Varieties of colors? That doesn't even make sense. Okay. I was about to throw up everything I had, and I frantically covered my mouth. It wasn't just because of what I was seeing in front of me that caused my queasiness. Inside what I ate just now, I sensed they'd mixed in there as well. Are you alright? What's wrong, Midori? Are you sick? Saki and the others noticed Midori's behavior, and they uneasily called out to her. I knew it. They don't see what's wrong with the curry. There you go. It's the same as the pain. It's a curse only I can sense. What's the matter? Black tea gentlemen, are you seeing this? I only have one thing to tell you. Don't worry about it. Exactly! The black tea gentleman snickers as if it was someone else's problem. Midori, you should really ask some questions. He sees it. He's also seeing this terrifying curry. At the moment in my mind, the puzzle pieces came together, and a detestable idea took shape in my mind. You're the black tea gentleman, right? Oh my, whatever are you talking about? Don't act the fool. Strange pain, this curry. Isn't this all you're doing? My oh my, how unfortunate. Why do you think I'd do something like that? Am I not on your side? Oh, I think you're on my side, but for some reason, is there another girl who's on your side? Oh my, what do you mean by that, I wonder? In the drama club, just as you offered your power to me when we met. You met with Kawada-san. You lent her some kind of power, didn't you? I see. In order to get the lead role, Kawada-san entrusts me with causing you to resign. I see, I see. The black tea gentleman smiles widely. Until now, I thought of him as my benefactor. He was an incomprehensible supernatural being. He'd given his power to me on a whim, and he was never on my side from the very beginning. I mean, this is the obvious accusation. I'm glad we're making it before we're fucking dead. Or dying. Midori-san, that's a very upsetting thought. That's not it. Then what is it? Midori-san, I am your ally, and therefore I'll always be here with you like this. Maybe you're clinging to me for the sake of Kawada-san's curse? I'm your ally, and even if you won't lend me your ears to hear it, I'll say the same thing. Don't worry about it. Indeed, aside from that, I have no intent of telling you anything otherwise. Even if strange things happen, you're saying I should dedicate myself to practice without giving it a thought? Ask if you've already made your payment or if you're still extracting it. If weird things like this keep happening, there's no way I can concentrate. Then you'll stop practicing and give the lead role to Kawada-san? I won't let that happen. I'm the lead. The role's mine. I'll be the one. Well said, exactly. You are the lead. It'll go to no one else. What are you thinking? I can't tell. Oh, Midori flew up from her seat. Her wildness startled everyone, but Midori didn't care. Recklessly taking her school lunch tray, she threw it all in the garbage, silverware and all. And with that, she flew out of the classroom. Dear, oh dear, so very young. The black tea gentleman shrugged his shoulders and laughed. Something strange caught his eye. Midori, who roughly flew out of her chair and out of the classroom. Steam or smoke trailed from her body and hung in the air like steam or incense. That was something only a supernatural being could see. The black tea gentleman gently held his teacup in the air, and that smoke-like entity slowly gathered and began filling his cup. See? See? As that swirl wound itself, it turned brown. It became a delicious black tea with a pleasant fragrance. He took a sip and smiled peacefully. It truly tastes of innocence. Midori-san, your soul will make a delightfully fragrant tea. See? She hasn't made her payment yet, and she's still doing plays, so he's taking more of her soul. Why is she not paying attention? That was literally like the only term of her contract, was that while he's guaranteeing her leading roles, he gets her soul sucked out, but she hasn't bothered checking if she paid or if she's paying anything. She ran towards the club room. It was still lunch break. She wanted to practice. She wanted the theater. She wanted to be someone else. She flew into the club room, separated from the line and file of the classroom. The hustle and bustle of lunch break was far away, and that made her feel a bit better. Midori headed straight for the costume storeroom in the club room. Then she took the dress of the lead role in her arms. Regardless of the fact that it was still lunch break, she began changing her clothes. I'm the lead actress. I'm the lead actress. I won't let anyone else. I won't let anyone else. She took off her favorite dress. And then, looking at herself reflected in the mirror, Midori's heart stopped. What's this? On both her exposed arms, something that looked like a moth was stuck. A vivid something. Was it paint? Thinking that, she drew her face nearer. The hell is this? It was a bruise. Not just one or two. Red, blue, purple, vibrant bruises were stuck all over her arms. Her arms began to shake. What's this? The parts that were hidden by her clothes, on her back, on her stomach, countless bruises. Traces of internal bleeding. What is this? In the silent room, Midori's screams resounded. A teacup floating in the corner of the club room tipped with a slurp. Due to the shock on her peace of mind, it seemed Midori couldn't see the black tea gentleman's form. Nothing to worry about, Midori-san. Then again, even if you were to speak of it, it seems it wouldn't reach anyone's ears. Leave that girl alone. Oh my. In front of the black tea gentleman, Marie slowly showed herself. She glared at the black tea gentleman with a perceptive gaze. Haven't seen any Higanbana yet. If it isn't our 8th ranking school yokai. Meso Marie. A yokai. You're one too? Indeed, we're in the same trade. I'm a being who survives by receiving a modest portion of a human soul. Midori Kusunoki's a hard worker, girl with a beautiful heart. Even now, she's endeavoring with all her might for the play. Yes, I acknowledge that more than anyone. Is it fun to bully that girl? Now that's a misunderstanding. How am I bullying Midori-san? You're consuming her soul? That's what you're hunting? It's only a little bit, right? Unlike the greedy school yokai, it's not to my liking to steal one's life. Yes, so let's leave it at this. Please leave her alone. Leave her alone? I've been watching her this whole time. This bizarre curse has been getting worse day by day, driving her into a corner. All she wants is to give the greatest performance at the play, and your curse is preventing that. The reason she worries about pain and the like is due to none other than her lack of concentration. If she were truly concentrating on her performance, there'd be nothing else on her mind. I'll say it once again. Let Midori-san go. Oh, I can't do that. She's my prey. Well then, I'll ask you abide by the school yokai rules. Rules? Well then, for ones who despise any kind of shackles like us, what rules? We can make anyone our prey, and we can take anyone's prey. I see, yokai do certainly follow that one rule, don't we? As if to say you've got me there, the black tea gentleman's shoulders shook with laughter. I understand yokai are under circumstances where we must consume souls to live. Therefore, if you depart now, I won't exacerbate this, right? Yep. Marie's strong will shot through the black tea gentleman just with her gaze. Oh my, this is the problem. Being threatened by Meso-san of the 8th seed of the school yokai. A puny yokai with no ranking like myself would surely be no match for you. I don't want to do this. I'm sure you don't want this done to you. However, I think giving up Midori-san right here would be truly regrettable considering she'd make such brilliant tea leaves. I know. As a fellow yokai, I don't intend to settle this through talking. Oh, how strong! I'd never have thought you were a bullied child once. It's because I was once bullied. I understand people's hearts more than anyone else. You're consuming that hard-working girl. I have no intention of letting you go. Or letting you, the man who toys with her struggles, get away with it. I've heard Mesomesa's a yokai who demonstrates her true worth from behind a door. Right now, I'm the 8th ranked seed of the school yokai. I'll destroy you with my bare hands. At some point, the steam from the black tea gentleman's cup filled the entire club room. Rather than a mist, it was as if from the teacup countless arms of fog sprang up. They were swaying, glaring at Marie like reptiles, and attacked. Countless arms of mist leapt right at Marie. They coiled around her and constricted her. The black tea gentleman laughed with a huff. Was it because he settled things so quickly? No. He realized it. Even if she was temporarily in that rank, he was up against the 8th ranked school yokai. There was no way he could take her down using attacks like that. The arms of mist constricting Marie all around were shuddering, as though tearing them apart from within. One by one, she tore them to shreds. Oof, Mesa appears to be a yokai with superhuman strength. Gee, what a dreadful power. She is supposed to crush you with her bare hands. So she's got some crazy strength. She's obviously running that strength build. Everyone knows it. With a violent sound like tearing apart a cocoon from within. The arms of mist were dispatched. The figure Marie was seen once more. Marie displayed a presence befitting of one representing the school's lowest seat of power among yokai. Still don't understand my own power. If you try to stop me, I won't be able to hold back. From Marie's body, a heavy chill gushed out and covered the floor, and both her arms were as heavy as lead. They were so large they seemed like tree trunks. I suppose that didn't work. Well then, let's continue until something does. The black tea gentleman raised his hand, and a snake of mist twined around, sharpening like a lance. Oh my, I hear some footsteps coming closer. If we go on, more humans than I am comfortable with will be here. Allow me to settle this with one blow. Indeed, someone's footsteps were nearing. They were coming closer directly to the club room. It was to be the countdown for their duel. The instant the club's sliding door was thrown open, Marie and the black tea gentleman crossed paths with a flash like lightning. I see. Accept your defeat. I'm really struggling to hold back. How frightening. That this is you going, you see. With a roar like the sound of thunder, the black tea gentleman's body was knocked off his feet by her strong arms. He was blown clear across the room and strewn against the furthest wall. He said, "A splendid strike," and gave a thumbs up as he spoke. At the same time, a small breaking sound, to signify the black tea gentleman's power had been broken and Midori set free. While letting out a sigh of relief, Marie drew back the power in both her fists. What are you doing here? Who entered the club room was Nozomi Kawada, and she scowled at Midori, who was standing in front of the mirror in a dress. Kawada-san? What do you think? You could just wear someone's costume? What? Nozomi Kawada looked down on Midori with eyes so cold it caused her to shiver. Come on, hurry and take it off. Midori was bewildered. Certainly Nozomi had appeared suddenly, but honestly, from the bottom of her heart, she couldn't comprehend what she was saying. Someone's costume? What does that mean, someone's costume? This is my dress. My costume is main role? What are you spacing out for? Did you get hit on the head too many times and lose it or something? Wada-san snapped at me with such a strict tone of voice. This girl, was it really even like her to speak so bluntly? I thought she could only silently stare at me in jealousy. I said, hurry up, take it off. Your stink is going to stick to it. The only time you can touch my stuff is when you're doing your job as the chore girl. Chore girl? Is she so deluded she thought she was the other person? That's possible. It's possible he was operating via illusion, via illusion rather than anything else. Isn't that Kawada-san's job? I'm the lead? I said take it off. It's 1,000 years too early for some moody girl like you to wear the costume of the lead actress. What do you say? But it doesn't fucking understand it's you. Strip, damn it. Wada-san suddenly lunged at me. I fell over and rolled, hitting my head hard on the edge of the wooden toolbox. That instant, something snapped. It wasn't her skull. It was something by her chest. Something deep inside had cleanly broken. The black-tea gentleman said he'd grant one wish. He'd give her any one role she wanted. The role Midori had chosen was not the princess. The role she chose was... Truths from deep in the crevices of her mind began to come out one after another. Not the pretend acting, but the truth flows. Here we go. It was almost like watching a movie on rewind. Memories of the past were clearly resurrected. And from the lies that covered it came the real truth. Right? The gentleman didn't make her sick, she just imagined it happened? What do we got? It's morning, I enter the classroom and my classmates look at me. They laugh as they draw near. Not because they wanted to greet me with love and respect. To hit me. They'd come and gather while laughing and beat me and sneer. You brought your homework? Saki would say. Then she'd give me her notebook and I'd take it. So I could copy my homework in her notebook. While I was copying, Saki would take out a ruler and beat my arms. Fumi would throw indoor slippers at my face. Even though I was doing their homework, they treated me terribly. Ah, they're still treating her. They're actively treating her poorly, but she's hallucinating that things went differently. Interesting. I was thinking that the two of them, that in her mind she swapped places with the other person, and that the other person was still doing all of the stuff she thought she was doing. But it looks like it's more like she's hallucinating how the events played out in a way that makes her feel like she's superior to people, but nothing actually changed. And she's not even like a better it's not even like the person she thought was like useless and moody is just like doing the actions she thinks she should take if she's better. It's actually just like the person is still who they were. Okay, that makes sense. We were wondering who the person who got booted was, and I was thinking it was her. Okay. I was thinking it was either her or some other mysterious person. Okay. After school, the club leader said to me after he got into the club room, Yoshinoki, you've been late quite a bit lately. I was delayed because I had to change clothes. That was the excuse I gave. The gym outfit I was wearing was covered in stains, and it smelled like it had been pulled out of a garbage bin. As I looked for a place to stretch, everyone said you stink and moved away from me. When they left me, it created a vast distance of space. As I started stretching my shoulders, the club members began kicking me one after another. I could hear the club girls whisper, I'd hate being a chore girl. This time there's a ton of props and whatnot. Don't worry about it. Looks like we have a girl who will do everything for us all by herself. They look at me. Many cruel smiles spread. It wasn't as if I was being given the position. Since when did I become the eternal chore girl? Next. Nozomi Kawada-san. Here. Nozomi Kawada, I want to be the witch. She splendidly announced her candidacy for the role of lead actress of Rockin' Everyone applauded their blessings. It could only be Princess Nozomi. Nozomi, do your best. I looked at everyone's backs. I was the only one who wasn't cheering. One after another, the roles were being decided. I had the courage to announce my candidacy for all sorts of roles, but acting is hard, and I was told my facial expressions were all wrong, so I couldn't get any role. No shit, they're not gonna give you a role if they're like all surrounding you and kicking you for fun. Yeah, I don't see them ever giving you a role. And being like, wow, you're so good at this. Unless they can make fun of you in the role. In the end, just as expected, I was chore girl. Since you kept stupidly nominating yourself, you wasted everyone's time. The role that best suits you is taking care of odd jobs. That being said, we're out of here. Good luck, Eternal Chore Girl. Don't nominate yourself again. You hear? It's annoying. They said as they kicked my back, putting countless shoe stains on the back of my gym outfit. After the meeting, I was the only person left in the club, and I worked on props and sewing clothes. During that time, I had secretly read Rockin' script and practiced the lines for the role of the witch. The practice started small at first, but gradually grew larger, and before long, secretly I began wearing the lead's dress and put on the entire rehearsal by myself. I had no partner, but I could see them, I could hear them. Every day I'd return home in the complete darkness of night. The anime Sea Cats was already long since over, so I'd tumble into bed and turn on my side, empty my mind, and sleep like a sack of potatoes. Static's creeping in again. Time for lunch. Some horrible person put dead bugs in my curry. They sat around me in a circle so they couldn't be seen by the teacher. They were watching me to see if I'd eat it or not. Fumi was always hitting me in the back of the head with a tray while I kept quiet. It hurt. Hurry up and eat! Potty rich snobby princess. Aren't you happy? It's a special curry made just for you, Midori. Since you're so rich, you get a special menu. Look, eat it. It's good for your health, seriously. Nothing about the bullying towards me had changed since my first semester. Nothing. Nothing. In the middle of it all, Nozomi Kawada was a princess. With the role of the princess, she was fussed over and popular all over school. I was envious, jealous. She was always on the center of the stage. When the black tea gentleman asked what kind of role I wanted to play, I answered him. I said I wanted to be Nozomi Kawada. The back of my head filled with blood as she slowly stained the witch's dress with blood. Midori slowly stood up, and she leaned against the wall. She saw the black gentleman, who seemed to be in anguish. I want to become Nozomi Kawada. Yes, I know. I want to be called princess, I want to be loved. Even in the drama club, I want to earn a spectacular role and bathe in the spotlight at the center stage. Make me her. Make me Nozomi Kawada. Yes, you can become her. As long as you keep acting, you can always, from henceforth, become Nozomi Kawada. But something is wrong. Something is wrong. Everyone's bullying me. Even Kawada-san's wrong. They're saying the dress isn't mine. They're saying I'm the chore girl. Midori, please don't worry. Please act as if you were Nozomi Kawada-san. Don't pay heed to anything or listen to anyone. Focus on acting. Just as you call Kawada-san Princess Nozomi, you too shall be called Princess Midori. You'll bathe in the love of your classmates, and even Saki-san and Fumi-san will become close to you. You'll be showered with praise and always selected for the lead roles in the drama club. I could... be a princess? Princess Midori? Midori's world began to dim little by little. Even though it was still daytime, her world began turning dark. It's only natural. The top of the stage is dim, and with a striking person bathed in the sharp spotlight, their figure stands out. There she stood, Midori's figure, clad in the dress of the lead actress. At the end of the supreme climax for the play Rockinjima, she monopolized a grand cheer and applause. See? I can hear it. I'm hearing it. The applause, the cheers, the praises of everyone's voice calling me prince. What's with this girl? Nozomi Kawada was dumbfounded. Midori faced the mirror and began deeply bowing to herself. Then she seemingly reached out to take someone's hand. The black tea gentleman took that hand. Marie was also watching this spectacle in bewilderment. How it is. Meso Meso Marie-san. Am I still such a hindrance to Midori-san? Marie was at a loss for words. She could say nothing in return. I'm a yokai that allows one to believe lies. The copium yokai, I see. When you hear the word lie, you can only think it's wrong, correct? However, it's the same with painkillers or anesthetics. Isn't there some pain that must be forgotten in order to keep living? This is how I relieve this girl of her pain. Marie, you're out of your league. Leave it at that. Higanbana-san? There was no telling when she arrived, but Higanbana was there. Furthermore, Midori Kusunoki was my prey. Someone so proud of her money she was hated in class and bullied? That sounded like a delicious soul to my taste. And then this guy snatched it away. Well, if Midori hadn't been my prey, well, listen to what Higanbana just said now. She'd probably have had her life toyed with. Humans have the right to run away from harsh realities. If you think of it as granting the person involved a happy dream, is that not a beautiful thing? How sophisticated. Humans live in reality. If one runs away, they'll have to pay for it dearly one day. Correct, isn't it? Once they return to reality, they'll have to pay for it. Or if they don't come back, they'll be fine, never paying it back. Is that what happiness is to her? If you were once bullied, then you'd want to sympathize with how she feels now. You have no more complaints, Marie. That girl is his prey. Let's go, Marie. He's not someone you can oppose anyway. You used the name Black Tea Gentleman. Who on earth is he? Oh, he doesn't have a rank in the 8 seats of the school yokai, but he has a real ability. Well, perhaps he'd be about the 2nd rank in the shadows? He's the headmaster's right-hand man. We call him Vice Principal. The 1st rank of the school yokai, the headmaster's right-hand man, the Vice Principal, a fearsome yokai with the power to make lies a reality. However, lies are lies. Once one realizes it's a lie, no matter how believable it is, it can be nothing else but a lie. But his power is extremely tempting, and surely no human can resist it. This is what the headmaster's underling is capable of. The power of the shadow, 2nd-ranked yokai, spoken of in whispers. Oh, you flatter me. I'm nothing but a nameless yokai. Let's go, Marie. This is what Midori Kusunoki wished for. Unable to face reality, wishing for a world of lies, he refuses to pay the price. The girl is still the princess of a beautiful world. Since every day should be happy, she would never possibly think of suicide. Pity she's no longer my type of soul. Higanbana turned around and disappeared. Marie was speechless and watched the Black Tea Gentleman and Midori's encore. Nozomi Kawada was at a loss for words, and Midori's eyes could no longer see anyone. Reflected in those eyes was an auditorium full of spectators. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I offer this stage to everyone who's loved me. Thank you so much. Forever and ever. The thunderous applause and cheering continued to praise her. Boom. Well, that's gonna be an awkward one. What's gonna happen to her later on? It ends there, where she accepts a world of lies. Does she escape the lies? Is she trapped there forever? Maybe just her high school? An interesting pitch where I don't know what happens next. Maybe she's just diagnosed with having serious mental problems, as she can't accept reality anymore. Maybe they can blame the head injury the Kawada caused her to completely break from reality. Would that be a good ending? Kawada gets sent to juvie for seriously injuring a classmate to the point where they could no longer tell it was real and not real. Oh, I guess she's like not an adult, so she probably wouldn't really have any punishment anyway. That's not how the law works. Alright, I think we had a couple new additions to our glossary, right? The Glass Mask. A popular shoujo manga written by Suzue Miyuchi that's been in circulation since 1976. The story revolves around Maya Kitajima and her pursuit of her dream to become an actress. In Chapter 3 of Higanbana, Midori refers to the extreme training methods found in the story. I see, that's what we're referring to. Okay. Bell marks, I think, was the second story. Since the 60s, bell marks have been embedded in Japanese elementary school as a popular activity. They can be found on many products, and students can cut them out and gather them to turn into their teachers at the end of the month, depending on how many bell mark students turn in. The school benefits by receiving funds from the Bellmark Foundation, and they can use those funds on school supplies and equipment. I did not know that. That's cool. Thank you for the Japanese elementary school trivia. I didn't know that was even a thing. There's the 7 mysteries, yokai and mesa mesa we covered from the first chapter. Thank you for including this glossary that gives us some references. I guess it's translator's notes, so maybe it's just clarifying what certain things were that you may not know about, that were directly referenced in the series. Because it is labeled translator's notes, so this might be English translation specific, but that's still cool. But they included that, because this is not an official translation, so that if those are just translator's notes and not an actual in-game glossary, they added a new menu item and are using that to give you information you wouldn't otherwise have a way to acquire here. Because I've never heard of that show. I don't read shoujo. I don't know that manga. I don't know 1970s manga. I'm sorry. 1970s shoujo manga seems too specific for me. Hey guys, it's post-recording Ethereal here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next chapter.